It's important to return to the notion of individuation, not only because I initially said that I would do it in my exploration of the glossary of terms, of Jungian existentialism, of the depth psychology of personality, of deep typology, all these terms for the kind of work I do. But also because it says something essential about the interest that people have in knowing about personality, their personality, other personalities. If you're watching this video, at some point in your life, you decided that you were interested in this topic. Why were you interested in this topic? What does your interest reveal about you and about your possibilities? That's individuation. At least individuation is very much involved in this process, and we're going to explore this together. Okay? Before I move on, drop me a like and subscribe if you haven't yet. You know that it helps massively with the referencing, and I need your support in that regard. You can also really help me by giving a few bucks a month or a year toward my Patreon page. It's really good value for what you get in return, like access to a whole archive of deep dive videos exclusively for patrons. There's a lot of material in there, and access to our Discord server, the Fourfold. Come hang out with us. We're a great community, and these are perks that you get by becoming a patron. The link is the first link below. It helps me more than you realize, guys, to keep me going. So thank you so much for considering it and for doing it. So the individuation, you see, is something that people like to think about, but people don't like to think about. They like to sort of have it in mind, or just bring it to mind or to cognition as something that means something like people. You know, the main issue is that people think that a lot of people think mistakenly that individuation is basically being the best version of yourself in the sense of fulfilling your capacities, fulfilling your true potential. It's like you're like level, you move from like level 1 in life, to use a kind of RPG metaphor, like you move from level 1 in life to like level 99, like Final Fantasy metaphor. That's not individuation. Individuation is not about awakening superpowers. And that's the problem also with the restrictive attitude type, with the finite attitude type that I criticize, or critique, I should say, in this book, The Infinite Soul. The whole first chapter is about this, INFJ life in the modern world, The Infinite Soul. I recommend it if you want to know a lot more and more deeply about the INFJs in the external reality, how to find meaning, purpose, and value in the world. It's linked below. The finite, restrictive, performative attitude type is basically like type as a tool that has a certain level, a number of characteristics. You become familiar with these characteristics, you learn to use them to maximize and optimize your relationship to life, to become more efficient. That's totally divorced from the notion of individuation. Individuation is trying to integrate more parts of your personality, often, mostly the darker parts of your personality. What do you think is repressed? What do you think in your personality is repressed? What's deep in your unconscious that you integrate more of through individuation? The shadow. And the shadow is not fun stuff. The shadow is stuff it's not like hidden powers. It's mostly stuff you don't like about yourself. So individuation is about a process of awakening a fuller sense of individuality. You become more singularly yourself. It's not so much realizing your potential. It's more like becoming the individual you were meant to become, instead of opting mostly for rationalizations, compromises, and adaptive measures. So individuation is painful, and there's no guarantee that you'll have any kind of superpower. It's about making peace with the polarities within yourself. It's about attaining a fuller sense of being. Usually there is, as you progress down the path of individuation, which, as you know, I call spiritualization in the case of NI dominance, because it has a very close relationship with the notion of spirit, the sacred, and the symbol in the life of NI dominance. But spiritualization, individuation, same thing really. There is self-acceptance. And so people who are truly individuated tend to be less neurotic, less anxious, more flowy, okay? But that doesn't mean that they are more likely to excel, or to have higher paying jobs or more status in society. Often people who have really high paying jobs and a high status in society are people who are actually completely the slaves of their unconscious. You know, unconscious shouting, you're not good enough, you have to do all of these things to finally be yourself, and then or be worthy, and then you achieve all this, but because you still haven't made peace with your unconscious, you haven't individuated in any single way despite all your outward achievements, lo and behold, you need to achieve more and more and more and more, and you never reach a sense of inner peace or acceptance or wisdom in a larger sense. So you can actually see how individuation may, from a purely external point of view, not have any particular impact on your status or on your salary. But when it comes to your inner equilibrium, inner richness, inner sense of fantasy and symbolic value, you lead a fuller life. It's about leading a fuller life that is dependent mostly on yourself and not on the particular kinds of signs of recognition that you accrue from the outside. That's what individuation is. And that's why works of individuation within the realm of typology are works that are not there to tell you, to spit facts and tell you truths, ready-made truths, that if you absorb them all, you become this hyper-developed being that excels at everything. You understand that this is only a way to, in fact, further and solidify your neurosis. No, you need to read works that are narratives that you resonate with and that inspire you to explore new aspects of yourself, including accepting and exploring, being curious about, and ultimately falling in love with those darker parts of yourself. You need transitional works, you need works of transitional space, as I was talking about in my last video. And the goal with my upcoming book on NI is just this kind of work. So it is definitely a work of NI spiritualization, of NI individuation, on top of being a work about NI. Guys, just to mention another book, my first book in fact that I wrote, The Ecstatic Soul, A New Look at the INFJ Personality, which is a work that is all about the inner life of the INFJ, thoughts, beliefs, consciousness, and it's still a goodie, so if you haven't got that, you should check it out at the links below. Thank you for your attention, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.